Today we're going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel lines have the same slope. So if one line has a slope of 2, a parallel slope would be what? 2. If a line had a slope of 1/2, then a line parallel to that would have a slope of 1/2. Whatever the slope of the first line is, the second slope must be exactly the same. Perpendicular lines, their slopes are opposite reciprocals of each other. Opposite reciprocals means one of them must be positive, the other must be negative. And reciprocal means you take the fraction and you flip it. So if the original slope was 2/3, the perpendicular slope would be -3/2. So if 2/3 is positive, the perpendicular slope must be negative. Take 2/3 and flip it, 3/2. Let's try another. Let's say that the original slope is -2. The perpendicular slope, because -2 is negative, the perpendicular slope would need to be positive. Take 2, flip it, it would be 1/2. All right. We are going to find the slopes of all of these lines and then decide if line 1 and line 2 are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So take a moment, pause the video if you're watching the video, and find the slope of line 1, the slope of line 2, and then we will compare those slopes. The slope's -3 and 1/3. -3 is negative, positive 1/3, so they are opposite. 3 and 1/3 are reciprocals, so these two lines would be perpendicular. And if you remember the symbol for perpendicular that you learned in geometry last year, you could write that so that you didn't have to write out the whole word perpendicular. The symbol is an upside down capital T. So next to these slopes, if you write an upside down capital T and then circle that, that works for perpendicular. Okay, take a moment, pause the video if you're watching the video, find the slope of line 1 and line 2 for number 2, and then we will discuss those slopes. 0 divided by 9 is 0. 2 divided by 0 is undefined. A line with a slope of 0 is a horizontal line. A line with an undefined slope is a vertical line. So think about a horizontal line and a vertical line. Are those lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? They are perpendicular. So it appears that they are not opposite reciprocals of each other, but that's because vertical slope doesn't follow that pattern. And 0, you can't have the opposite of 0. You can't have the reciprocal of 0. So if you've got 0 and undefined, those are considered perpendicular lines. Try number 3. Again, pause the video if you're watching the video. Find the slope of line 1, slope of line 2, and then we will compare them. I tried to make this example come out this way on purpose because just glancing at it, some of you might say neither. But 5 over -4, it does not matter where the negative sign is. If you have one negative somewhere in the fraction, it's the same as putting it on the top. So 5 over -4 is the same as -5/4. Both of these are negative, and they are both the same. So these two lines would be parallel. Do you remember the symbol for parallel? 2 slashes, 2 lines. The slope of a road, or the grade, is usually expressed as a percent. For example, if a road has a grade of 3%, that means that it rises 3 rises 3 feet for every 100 feet of horizontal distance. The easiest way to do this is to set up a proportion. 3% per cent, cent is a term that means 100. So per cent means out of 100. 3% means for every 3 feet of rise, there is 100 feet of horizontal distance. Find the grade of a road that rises 75 feet over a horizontal distance of 2,000 feet. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not actually using 3 there. I should write that up here. 3 out of 100. So they're telling us in here that the road rises 75 feet over a horizontal distance of 2,000 feet. That would be considered the run. So 75 over 2,000. Someone with a calculator, punch that in. Let's find the grade of this road. 0.0375. That's what the calculator tells us. How do we change 0.0375 into a percent? Multiply by 100 or move the decimal point 2 places. This is 3.75%. In B, there's at least 2 different ways you could do B. They want us to find the horizontal length of a road that has a grade of 4%. So first, let's look at what does this grade of 4% mean? It means for every 4 feet of rise in the road, there's 100 horizontal feet for that road. Rise of 400 for every horizontal distance of 100. Our road rises 50 feet over its length, and we don't know what the horizontal length is. So the first fraction comes from the grade that the road is supposed to be. The 50 over x comes from the information about our road. It rises 50 feet. We don't know over what distance. What do you do when you have fraction equals fraction? Cross multiply. 4x equals 5,000. And then 5,000 divided by 4. 1,250. And what unit are we working in? Feet. This road has a horizontal distance of 1,250 feet for each 50-foot rise in elevation. Okay, go to the next page. There's one more example to look at. And there's a couple different things I want to highlight with this example. We could use the actual years, 1993 and 1996. So we could set up 2 points. 1993, there are 16 million phone subscribers. In 1996, there are 44 million phone subscribers. Or we could say 016 and 344. Where did that 3 come from? The difference in years. 1993, if we say that x is number of years after 1993, then we can use 0 for 1993 and 3 for 1996. Either way, you're going to end up with the same thing. We need to find the slope. Find the average rate of change. Another term for rate of change is slope. So 44 minus 16 over 3 minus 0. Even if you did 1996 minus 1993, you would still end up with 3 on the bottom of that fraction. 44 minus 16, what is that? 28. And 28 divided by 3 is 9.33. The other thing I want you to notice is that this says 16 million and 44 million. So once we find this 9.33, this is 9.33 million. And this slope represents number of subscribers per year. We are increasing by 9.33 million subscribers per year. If you want to. Then they're asking, estimate the number of subscribers in 1997. You could either do 9.33 times the number of years after 1993 and then add that to the 16 million, or let's just think about this. 1997 is 1 year after 1996. So take that 44 million and add 9.33 million more subscribers. Is that 53.33? 53.33 million subscribers. So a couple things I want you to think about with this. If they use something like 16 million and 44 million, you don't have to write it in the point as 16 with 6 zeros at the end. You can just use 16 and 44, but remember that those represent millions of subscribers. For the years, you don't have to use 1993 and 1996. You can just use the difference in those years.